Okay, guys, let me introduce to myself. My name is Nur Aida, and here I as a moderator in this presentation from Cahaya Ningrum. Mm, that will be presented by Cahaya Ningrum. Uh, to Cahaya Ningrum, time is yours.
Thank you for the time. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First, I will introduce myself. My name is Cahaya Ningrum with ID student number 23111200025. Permission from the lecturer Mr. Lukman Behaki and friends. And now I want to present the result of my work entitled Language Change, exploring how languages evolve over time. The material that I will discuss here is triggering and language processing, types and causes of language change, and the impact of technology and globalization. Triggering and language processing. So, linguistic evolution is a natural and ongoing process that reflects the ever-changing culture, history, and socio-economic conditions of a specific set of speakers. It is studied by linguistic and language historians who investigate the mechanism and patterns of language change, as well as the social, cultural, and historical settings in which these changes occur. The study of linguistic evolution not only illuminates the complex mechanism that drive language change, but also provides vital insights into the social and historical settings that impact this alteration. Language, languages change constantly and in wide variety of ways. New words and phrases appear while others fall into disease. Word supply or less supply shift their meanings or develop new meanings while speech, sounds, and intonation change constantly. Yet perhaps the most fundamental shift in language change is gradual conventionalization. Patterns of communication are initially flexible, but over time they slowly become increasingly stable. Linguistic evolution is a natural process that occurs as a result of various factors such as cultural interaction, technological advancements, migration, and even generational differences. These effects gradually modify languages, resulting in the emergence of new linguistic traits while older ones become outdated or convert into something new. Assamese Michael Corballis of concerns that language evolved from manual gestures, since gestures have at least the potential to represent concepts iconically rather than in abstract form. Once a set of iconic representation is established, increasing usage can then lead to more centralized and ultimately abstract representation as has occurred in the evolution of writing systems. What constitutes genuine language? Modern language is typically described on several distinct levels, such as phonology, morphology, syntax, and semantics. So here is the types of language change. There's phonological changes, grammatical changes, lexical changes, semantic changes, and syntactic changes. We're going to number one is the phonological changes. This involves alteration in the pronunciation of sounds within a language. Over time, shifts in pronunciation can lead to changes in vowel and consonant patterns, which ultimately affect the overall phonetic makeup of a language. The second is grammatical changes. Changes in the structure of language grammar can occur, affecting word order, tense, aspects, mood, and other grammatical features. These changes often reflect shifts in how speakers conceptualize time, agency, and relationship. And number three is the lexical changes. In lexical changes, new words are constantly being introduced into languages through various means, such as borrowing from other languages, coining new terms, and proposing existing words. At the same time, certain words might fall out of use or take on new meanings. Number four is semantic changes. In semantic changes, words can undergo shifts in meaning over time due to cultural shifts or changes in societal norms. For instance, once neutral words might acquire positive or negative connotation. And last is syntactic changes. The way sentences are structured can also change. For example, word order might shift or new construction may emerge as old ones fade away. What causes the evolution of language? So language can change for many reasons, including human evolution. So as a human evolved, the ability to use language also does. Language can change to be more time effective and efficient as the needs of humans change. Causes of language evolution. So several factors contribute to linguistic evolution. The causes of language evolution are multifaceted and involve various factors that contribute to the dynamic and ongoing process of language change. These factors include contact and interaction, social and cultural influence, technological advance, and generational differences. In contact and interaction, there's different linguistic communities play a significant role in driving language evolution. When speakers of different languages come into contact, whether through trade, migration, conquest, or colonization, there's exchange of linguistic features. This can include borrowing of words, phrases, and grammatical structure from one language into another. For example, English has borrowed extensively from French, Latin, and other languages due to the historical interaction. In situations where speakers of different languages need to communicate but don't share a common language, pidgin languages can emerge. These are simplified languages that combine elements of different languages. If a pidgin becomes the native language of a community and is passed on to the next generation as a first language, it can develop into a Creole language with more complex grammar and vocabulary. This process is known as creolization. Contact with dominant languages can lead to the decline and extension of minority languages. When speakers of a minority language switch to a more dominant language, for economic, social, or political reasons, the minority language may gradually lose speakers and eventually disappear. This process is known as a language shift. Areas where different linguistic communities interact frequently, such as trade routes, border regions, and urban centers, are known as language contact zones. These zones are particularly fertile ground for language change and innovation, as speakers borrow words and structures from each other's languages. Overall, contact and interaction between linguistic communities provide the condition for language evolution by facilitating the exchange of linguistic features and the emergence of new forms of communication. And number two is social and cultural factors. Social and cultural factors have a significant impact on the evolution of language. Changes in society structures such as shift in power dynamics or demographics can lead to adjustment in language usage. Similarly, cultural movements and innovation introduce new vocabulary and expression into languages, while exchange through media and the arts shape linguistic norms. Language serves as a marker or identity and community belonging, with speakers adapting their language use to align with our or different height from specific groups. Globalization further influences language evolution by facilitating the spread of loanwords and hybrid languages. Additionally, languages and educational system contribute to language standardization and vitality within society. In summary, social and cultural influence shape language evolution by reflecting and responding to change in society, culture, and its identity. Number three is technological advancements. Technological advancements significantly shape language evolution through innovation in communication tools, the internet, machine translation, virtual reality, and mobile devices. These advancements create new linguistic environments, facilitate cross-linguistic communication, and influence language use in a digital context. Overall, technology continuously shapes language evolution by creating fresh linguistic landscape and facilitating communication across barriers. And last is generational differences. Generational differences significantly shape language development through socialization, media influence, cultural shifts, multilingualism, and identify expression. Each generation observes unique linguistic patterns from peers and technology, adapts to evolving cultural norms, and expresses its identify through language. These highlight the dynamic nature of language evolution, influenced by social, cultural, technological, and psychological dynamics over the impact of technology and globalization. The impact of technology and globalization on language has been profound, transforming the way people communicate and interact with each other across the globe. Technology has accelerated the process of language change, introducing new words, abbreviation, and expression that are often unique to digital communication platforms. Digital technology has expanded user vocabulary, particularly in the context of digital communication platforms. The rapid pace of technological change has also led to the development of new language varieties such as dialect, which is characterized by its use of digital media and computer-mediated communication. Social media and digital communication have also played a crucial role in shaping language change. The increased use of abbreviation, acronyms, and slang phrases in digital communication has led to the development of new linguistic features that are unique to these platforms. In a similar manner, the internet and digital communication have had a profound impact on language change over the past few decades. The need to communicate quickly and concisely has led to the development of new abbreviation acronyms and slang phrases unique to online platforms like messaging. Messaging. For instance, the term LOL has evolved from a basic abbreviation for laugh out loud into a versatile expression of enjoyment and or agreement. Positive and negative effects of social media in language. The negative effect of social media on language is primarily related to the reduced command over language due to the excessive use of abbreviations, slang, and informal language in online communication. This can lead to a decline of the quality of written and spoken language skills among students. But there are also many positive effects that social media changing language when people need to communicate with each other, such as easy communication. So social media often could be helpful and give a positive value to our language. For example, when we use a conversation in the tool social media, we have had many new words at aid to the language dictionary for doing a well understanding and would identify a better quickly responding to get clear feedback. As consequently, many people using this kind of communication to try to create a shared way to communicate with each other, such as abbreviation, emoticons, pictures, symbols, specific vocabulary, and meaning. Conclusion. Language development is a complicated and dynamic process influenced by a wide range of social, cultural, technical, and generical factors. Language just change to meet the ever-changing requirements and situation of their speakers in the same way as animals. Linguistic research, linguistic evolution obtains significant insight into the historical, social, and cultural process that influence language development. This understanding not only allows us to appreciate the diverse range of languages that exist, but it also provides insight into the interesting interaction between language and human civilization. Okay, that is all I can say. The next material will be delivered by my partner. Her name is Amanda Agni Oktavia Ramadhani with title Bilingualism Learning about the Benefits and Challenges of Speaking Two Languages. For Amanda, the time is yours. What's that? Ada nama. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Uh, I will continue the presentation after my friend. But let me introduce myself first. My name is Amanda Agni Ramadhani. The title of my material is Bilingualism, Learning about the Benefits and Challenges of Speaking Two Languages. So uh, the contents that I will present today is first introduction, and after that the discussion consists of definition and types of bilingualism, and after that I'm going to tell you about the benefit of bilingualism and what are the challenges for speaking two languages. So, uh, the introduction of our material today is Generally speaking, being bilingual enable people in communicating for two languages and it's needed in human reaction. The term bilingualism is typically used to describe the two languages of an individual. So in today's globalized era, the ability to speak more than one language has become increasingly important and valuable because many people in the world not only just use one language, so being a bilingualism or maybe even multilingualism uh, is a crucial thing in these days. I'm going to start with the definition of bilingualism. So what is bilingualism? In general, bilingualism is defined as a person's ability to understand and to use two different languages. This definition supports the most well-known definition of bilingualism given by Bullfield, who defines bilingualism as the native-like control of two languages. But the term native-like may sound too heavy for several people. Because of that, some experts then formulate more clear and realistic definition. For example, there is the definition from Titan, as quoted by Hammers and Black, who say that bilingualism is the individual's capacity to speak a second language while following the concept and structures of that language, rather than paraphrasing his or her mother tongue. Then there is another definition from Skolsky, defines a bilingual as a person who has some functional ability in a second language. This ability might vary from one bilingual to another. And also Steinberg explained further that bilingualism does not include bidialectalism, which is a person's ability to use one language in some different dialects. Uh, so bilingualism is just considered a common phenomenon in multinational countries in which some members of the society have a significant language for communication in addition to their mother tongues. One third of the world's population is bilingual due to the rapid cultural, social, and economic development. The bilingual population of the world is growing up as internationalism is spreading out in trade and travel, communication, and mass media. So overall, the world population is bilingual. Because of that, the bilingual is just a common phenomenon uh, in these days. But if you look closely, most of people that bilinguals understand English because we all know that English is one of the global language which can function as an official language or as a priority in a foreign language teaching in many countries. Uh, Rather than English, there's a lot of global languages, so bilingualism is just a common phenomenon. The next is the types of bilingualism. So bilingualism can be viewed from different perspectives, which then lead to different classification. When we look at bilingualism from the point of view of their first and second language competence, we will have balanced bilinguals and dominant bilinguals. So balanced bilinguals is a bilingual person that use or speak both two languages and mastering them in a balanced way. But dominant bilingualism, it means that bilingual person is using more at mastering just one language than the other's language that he or she speaks. Steinberg also proposed another classification depending on the time of acquisition or learning. There are simultaneous bilingual and sequential bilinguals. When a child acquires or learns his or her first and second language at the same time, we call this child a simultaneous bilingual. On the other hand, when one language is acquired or learned after the other, we can say that this child is a sequential bilingual. But in terms of age, there are child bilingualism and adult bilingualism. The Jung, as cited in Malina, classifies child bilingualism into beginning bilingualism that start from 0 until 4 years old and Middle bilingualism that start from 5 until 11 years old. There's some other types of bilingualism that I take to this presentation. So Romain and Saidit and Mambina divided child and adult bilingualism into three types. There are adaptive bilingualism, dominant bilingualism, and semi-bilingualism. Firstly, what is additive bilingualism? So additive bilingualism is a high level in both of languages. Positive cognitive effects. So it affects your cognitive work that is in your brain. And secondly is dominant bilingualism, which is a native-like level in just one of the languages, neither positive or uh, the benefit is negative cognitive effects. And thirdly is semilingualism is low level in both languages, maybe balanced or dominant negative cognitive effects. Then last, I take the definition from Sarah that mentioned three bilingual types. There are plain bilingual, natural bilingual, and adult bilingual. So plain bilingual refers to someone who achieved their languages through a planned strategy from parents. So they plan the strategy, like when you go to the school and you plan to be a bilingual person, you will choose another language that different from your mother or your father's tongue. And the second is a natural bilingual is a person who has born in an environment that naturally offers many languages. So it means that this child or person is living in like many languages or cultures of people. So they learn not just one language. And the last is adult bilingual that refers to those people who move to a foreign country and start to learn a new language. The next is benefit of bilingualism and the challenges of bilingualism, which is the main idea that I use in this article. So the benefit of being bilingual has many benefits. Numerous studies have shown that the prefrontal and dorsolateral cortices or of bilingual children have improved executive functions. This allows them to perform identify tasks quickly and efficiently where they need this high skill. In addition, they tend to better isolate environmental stimuli, making it easier for them to ignore disturbing noises. But people didn't always think like that. Until the 90s, people thought it will hinder the intellectual development of children. They told the children who being a bilingual had to translate what they heard and read into both languages at the same time. That belief it was believed to be a waste of time and effort. But now bilingualism has been proved to benefit rather than endanger our learning process. So what are the benefits of bilingualism? One is opportunity to talk and communicate with a lot of people around the world. Those who can speak more than one language do not experience a language barrier when they visit some country in the world that speak another language. For example, if you learn English or any other languages that includes a global language, it will help you to communicate with any problems or any people in the different worlds that you travel or some continues of the world. And second is those who have the opportunity or ability to express themselves in languages other than their own can learn the culture of other people in the world. So the language and the culture is a connecting thing. So when your language will portray your culture more remotely. Some people's critical thinking skills improve as they learn to see the world through a different cultural lens or perspective. The next is keeps the brain's functioning process in one mode. The more you engage the brain, the more efficiently it works. Interestingly, learning another language keeps your brain very sharp, creating new insights and good ways. The next is increases leadership skills in the workplace. These days, large corporations and international organizations hire a lot of workers that can speak or communicate with them in languages other than local language. So if you being bilingual that use especially global language that everyone, a lot of people using that language, higher your, uh, it's higher your acknowledgement to be in the workplace. The next is ability to make wise decision or think well. It's same like the benefits that I said before, keeps the brain functioning process in one mode because we think in one mode in one unit. So speaking another language can make ability to make wise decision or think well because your brain is thinking in one mode and it's can make your cognitive higher and higher. And the next is ability to make, speaking another language allows you to face life in a whole new way because you see a different perspective of others people's life that maybe talk or speak with another language that is not your first language or your mother tongue. So that's why speaking another language can make you see a different perspective of uh, world or your life. And then the next is knowing two or more languages may be an advantage if you want to work in a job such as being an international service officer in a foreign mission. So it seems like increases, like you in a higher, that large corporation and international organization hire a lot of workers that can speak or communicate with more than one languages, of which, especially the global language. What is speaking two languages can slow down the effects of aging in people. There are vital benefits of being bilingual, for example, cognitive flexibility, which is it's the ability to adapt to an unfamiliar or unexpected situation. As we grow through our lives, those who are prone to this line and have the advantage of speaking a second language can easily block this line or at least delay it significantly. And last, another major advantage is related to the concept of performance function in the broader sense. It includes the ability to control, direct, and one's attention as well as one's ability to play. It also helps avoid unnecessary information and focus on important information. Uh, there's a lot of benefits actually for being a bilingualism that it's just several benefits that I uh, bring to my presentation. Last contents that I will share to you is challenge of bilingualism. When we learn or try to understand a new language or even a new things that we don't know before, of course it's become unfamiliar and can lead us to some challenges. What is several challenges that can face for bilingual person? One is language interference. The two languages can interfere with each other, leading to mixing words, grammar rules, or pronunciation from one language into the other. And second is code switching. Bilingual individuals may intentionally switch between language in the same conversation or sentence, which can be confusing for monolingual speakers of those unfamiliar with the language involved. Third is language dominance. One language may become more dominant than the other, especially if one language is used more frequently in daily life or in certain contexts. Fourth is cultural differences. Language are deeply connected to cultural norms, values, and expression, which I said before that culture and language is two things that cannot be separated. And five is cognitive load. Switching between two languages requires mental effort and cognitive resources. It seems like code switching, but it's happen in your brain because cognitive is the way that your brain works. This can lead to fatigue or difficulty in maintaining focus, especially when dealing with complex topics. Six is language attrition. If one language is not used regularly, it can lead to a gradual loss or attrition of vocabulary, fluency, or proficiency in that language, especially if exposure to the language is limited. Next is identity issues. Bilingual individuals may face challenges in reconciling their multiple cultural and linguistic identities, especially if they feel torn between different communities or struggle to fit in fully with any one group. And last is education and literacy. Acquiring literacy skills in two languages can be more challenges than in a single language, as different writing systems, orthographies, and language structures need to be learned and mentored. What is the conclusion of what I presented today? The conclusion is the journey through bilingualism has unveiled a multi-phase phenomenon that carries profound implications for individuals, community, and societies. While the cognitive advantages of bilingualism, such as enhances executive functioning and mental flexibility, are well established. However, it is crucial to acknowledge the challenges that millennials may face, including potential delays in vocabulary and anything that I said before. Recognizing and addressing these hurdles is essential for fostering an environment that supports and empowers bilingual individuals to thrive. Ultimately, bilingualism is a powerful tool that unlocks a world of possibilities. By recognizing and harnessing its benefits while proactively addressing its challenges, we can pave the way for a more connected, inclusive, and culturally enriched global society. That's all that I can present it for today. Um, Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The next presentation will be delivered by my partner. Her name is Raysha Ramadhani, with the title of her article is Language Contact Investigating the Effects of Language Contact and Borrowing. For Raysha Ramadhani, the time is yours.
The two illustration that Kaufman explained, we can see that context is very important to understand.
Well, thank you to the moderator for opening my presentation today. Previously, let me introduce myself first. I'm Raysha Ramadhani, and I will present my material entitled Language Contact, Investigating the Effects of Language Contact on Borrowing. Let's take a moment to appreciate how fascinating language truly is. At its core, language is all about communication, an essential part of our daily lives. It is not just about the words we use, but also about how we interact with one another. When we start learning a language, we often dive into grammar lessons, which help us begin to understand and process the language itself. An interesting aspect of language is how it changes and evolves over time, particularly through what we call language contact. This does not necessarily mean everyone involved is a fluent bilingual speaker. Sometimes it is enough for there to be some basic communication between speakers of different languages. This interaction often leads to borrowing words from one another, which is a clear sign to no culture develops entirely in isolation. Even though many people support the idea of keeping languages pure, borrowed words from other languages are still very common. So, what exactly is language contact? Imagine a bustling marketplace where people from different cultures and language backgrounds come together. Language contact refers to the situations where multiple languages are used in the same place at the same time. Language contact can occur through lexical borrowing. For instance, when words from one language are borrowed and used in another language, such as the many English loan words in Indonesian like internet, software, or printer. It is increasingly being recognized as a major factor in how languages change and evolve. Various social factors play a role here, such as political dominance and language policies. These factors of these factors influence the extent and nature of language contact. Additionally, linguistic aspects like available resources and dialectical variations come into play. Often, language contact happens within individuals or entire communities who are bilingual or multilingual. This can sometimes lead to interesting conflicts between the grammatical systems of the languages involved. Defects of language contact. The effects of language contact are quite profound and multifaceted. Take countries like Belgium and Canada, for instance. These nations have multiple language groups in regular contact with each other. This situation has led to the establishment of research centers dedicated to studying bilingualism. As a result, there's been significant progress in language research, and many distinguished scholars have emerged from these efforts. Studying bilingual behavior helps us understand the language challenges faced by both groups and individuals. This knowledge is invaluable for language planning and educational policies. Language contact has thus become a central topic in sociolinguistics, driven by societal pressures and internal trends within the field. This has allowed us to gain a comprehensive understanding of language diversity and its broader implications. Now let's turn our attention to borrowing. Borrowing words is a fascinating process where linguistic elements from one language are imported into another. Borrowing words is a linguistic phenomenon where one language takes words from another language and incorporates them into its own lexicon. This process often occurs when there is contact between speakers of different languages, whether through trade, conquest, migration, cultural exchange, or technological advancement. This often happens when two cultures come into contact over time. The elements borrowed can include grammar, phonology, vocabulary, and another linguistic components. Studying borrowing can provide us with insights into the historical development of languages. For example, we might find instances of the same word being borrowed at different times from the same source, a phenomenon known as doublets. The study of borrowing has been of interest to scholars since Hodgen's important paper in 1950, which initially focused on the components of language systems. The next is the effects of borrowing. Borrowing words from other languages has several intertwined effects. A reason for borrowing is cultural interactions, such as through media and fashion, introduce new concepts that may not have native terms. Words like sushi from Japanese and pizza from Italian are used worldwide. Firstly, it enriches the vocabulary of a language by introducing new words and terms. This is why linguistic dictionaries often contain a variety of searches of their lexicons. Borrowing also facilitates cultural exchange. Over centuries, languages and cultures have come into contact, especially in places like Europe, leading to extensive borrowing and reborrowing of words. Moreover, borrowing can result in language variation, sometimes even leading to emergence of new, geographically distinct languages. This process also enhances the language learning experience by expanding a speaker's repertoire to include different linguistic varieties, whether local, regional, national, or standard forms of speech. Two types of borrowing. When it comes to borrowing, there are two main types. The first one is full borrowing without changes, and the second one is borrowing with modification or with changes. Full borrowing occurs when a word is adopted without any changes to its lexical frame or meaning. For instance, in Malay, words like pulan, urut, anak, and pantang are borrowed directly into Mandarin without alteration. On the other hand, borrowing with modification involves changing the borrowed word from its original form. This can include various modifications, such as adding the key consonants to the end of the words. For example, in Mandarin, words like janjik, tigak illustrate this type of borrowing. The next is conclusion. Language contact involves interaction between speakers of different languages, influenced by social, political, and economic factors. Borrowing results in the exchange of linguistic elements between language systems, contributing to diversity and complexity in language structure. Factors like global mobility and technological advancements play a role in the borrowing process. By examining language contact and borrowing, we can see how these processes reflect the dynamic nature of language evolution and cultural interaction. It is a reminder of how interconnected and interdependent our cultures and languages truly are. Through these linguistic phenomena, we gain a deeper appreciation for the richness and diversity of human communication. Okay, that's all the presentation material from me. Thank you. And I return to the moderator.
Necessary for effective
Yes, sure.
Okay. The material will be continued by the next presenter. Before we begin, let me introduce our speaker for today. His name is Aldo Saputra, a student at Islamic Institute, State Islamic Institute of Cahaya. Today he will be presenting on the basics of syntax, understanding the rules governing the structure of sentences. Without further ado, I would like to invite Aldo Saputra to start his presentation. The time is yours. Bisa share screen.
Sudah? Sudah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Here I want to presenting my article titled Basic of Syntax, Understanding the Rules Governing the Structure of Sentence. Okay. Syntax is one of the main branches of linguistics, investigates how words, phrases, and clauses are systematically arranged in a sentence to convey clear and structured meaning. Speaking of syntax reminds us of the complexity of human language. Language is not merely a collection of standalone words. It is a well-organized system where words are interconnected to form meaningful expressions. In the in the process of language learning, syntax offers an in-depth insight into how words are used to form complex message. So the key points is the first is understanding syntax. Syntax is a branch of linguistics that studies the rules and principles governing sentence structure and how words in a sentence are arranged to convey meaning. The term syntax is from the ancient Greek syntaxis, a verbal noun which literally means arrangement or setting out together. Traditionally, it refers to the branch of grammar that dealing with the ways in which words, with or without a period, inflections, are arranged to show connections of meaning within the sentence. For example, in it tastes nice, there are connections of meaning among it. Places the nice which are shown by the order of word places nice, not nice, plus taste, plus it, or other permutation, and also in part by inflectional arrangement between the verb and pronoun. It tastes, not in it tastes. The field of syntax covers both what is shown that how nice it tastes is an explanation that place stands in a certain meaning relationship to nice. The means by which it is done, agreement, order of words, and other devices. So the next is basic element of syntax. There are sentence structure, part of speech, order, word order, and punctuation. Sentence structure is the order of all the parts in a sentence, uh, usually subject, predicate, object, phrases, punctuation. It deals a lot with independent and dependent clauses and how they combine the placement of words and phrases next to what they modify as well as the use of proper grammar. Part of speech is a part of English grammar in the form of classifications of words which are divided into several categories based on their role and function in the structure of a sentence. Part of speech Part of speech have several types, namely verb, noun, adjective, pronoun, adverb, preposition, conjunction, and interjection. Word order refers to the way words are arranged in a sentence. The order of words in English is important if you want to communicate your thought and ideas. English has a direct word order in basic sentence, such as subject plus predicate. English word order is strict and not very flexible. This means that the order of words in an English sentence rarely changes. The subject almost always comes before the predicate. There are, however, a few parts of speech that can move in a sentence. We will cover these later in this lesson. Native English speakers are used to hearing some English part of speech in a specific order. If these part of speech are different order, it can be confusing. Even very small difference in English word order can sound strange to native speaker. For example, the sound of clock in English is tick tock. Tock tick sounds speaker. Tick tock sounds correct. Punctuation is defined as a set of symbols used to separate and clarify the meaning of sentences and written elements. In other words, punctuation tells readers of your writing where to pause. what words are questions and which are clarifications, where words have been omitted, and more. Read the resources below to get up to speed on commas, hyphens, semicolons, and all other punctuation marks. So next is basic rules of syntax. There are all sentences require a subject and verb. A single sentence should include one main idea. The, sub, the subject comes first and the verb comes second. Subordinate clauses also require a subject and verb. Adjectives and adverbs go in front of the words they describe. So the next is syntax and meaning. Syntax is basically about what words come before and after word. Syntax is closely related to semantics, the study of meaning in language. Syntax in linguistics refers to the arrangement of words and phrases. So the next is importance of syntax. Many people know the meanings of many words, but it is difficult to put the words in a sentence that makes grammatical and logical sense. A sentence is supposed to communicate something to the listeners. Words arranged in a sentence can give particular meaning. The same word rearranged can give a different message to the listener. To become proficient in language, syntax is one of the most important aspects to be considered. Then is conclusion. Syntax stands as a crucial component of linguistics, serving as a cornerstone in a language structure and understanding. Originating from the Greek word syntaxis, meaning arrangement or setting out together, syntax explores the complex interplay between words and their order to create meaningful sentences. It examines the grammatical ties between words, the sequence in which they are positioned, and the agreements that shape you about the of syntax. I give it back to the moderator. Hmm? Moderator siapa? Oke, ke moderator aku loh.
Thank you very much to the presenters for the informative and engaging presentation. Now we will enter the Q&A session. For those who wish to ask a question, please raise your hand and state your name or type your question in the chat box below.
Excuse me, I
I
want
want
to
to
asking
asking
to
to
Russia.
Russia.
What role
What
does
role does
bilingualism
bilingualism
play
play
in
in
the
the
process of
process of
language
language
borrowing
borrowing
and
and
change?
change?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please type your question in the chat box.
Okay.
Okay.
Excuse me, can I ask question for Aida?
Yeah, okay, now I will answer the question from Aldo Saputra. What role does bilingualism play in the practice of language borrowing and change? So, bilingualism accelerates language borrowing and change, facilitating the transfer of linguistic features between languages. Bilingual individuals blend elements from their languages, expanding lexical and semantic repertoires and fostering cultural exchange. This cross-linguistic influence spurs innovation and creativity, driving language evolution. Did you get it?
Um, I get it. That's clear. Thank you for the answer.
Okay. May I ask a question for Aldo Saputra? Aldo Saputra.
Sure, you can write your question in the chat box.
Uh, how did it fundam how do the fundamental rules of syntax determine the structure and meaning of sentences in different languages? Wait.
Okay, Raisha, let me answer your question. Um, the fundamental rules of syntax which govern the structure of sentence vary across language and significantly influence both the structure and meaning of sentence. That's how does the fundamental rules of syntax determine the structure and meaning of sentence in different language. Do you get it?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you so much for the answer.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Is there anyone else who wants to ask?
Um, may I ask to Aida, how does syntactic no, what is the impact of using gender neutral language on perception of gender equality?
Okay, Aldo Saputra, let me answer your question. Using gender neutral language can positively impact perceptions of gender equality by promoting inclusivity and challenge traditional gender stereotypes. It helped to create a more equitable environment by acknowledging and following all gender equality. Additionally, gender neutral language can contribute to breaking down barrier and basic. Uh, do you understand, Aldo Saputra?
Yes, I get it. Thank you so much for the answer.
Okay.
Excuse me, can I ask a question for Ida?
Yes.
Okay, the question is, in what ways can language be used as a tool for empowerment and advocating for gender equality? Thank you.
Mm, okay. I want uh, answer to question of Amanda. Language play a serial role in em- empowering individual and advocating for gender equality in several ways. Uh, Number one, inclusive language. Number two, challenge bias. Number three, empowering narrative. Number four, educational initiatives. Number five, police advocacy. Number six, intersectionality. Number seven, raising awareness. And the last, fostering dialogue. By harnessing the power of language, individuals and organizations can actively contribute to creating a more inclusive and equitable social for all genders. Mm, do you understand, Amanda?
Yes, thank you, Ida.
Okay. Excuse me. Why?
Excuse me, may I ask question for Amanda? So the question is, what is role of the young generation in accelerating language speech? So thank you. Yeah. No. Excuse me, I'm so sorry for the mistake. So I want to ask a question for Amanda. The question is, what challenge individuals face in actively maintaining two language? Thank you.
Excuse me, I want to answer the question from Cahaya. The question is, what challenge individuals face in actively maintaining two language? So, being bilingual offers cognitive benefits such as enhances, I'm so sorry. One of the main challenges individuals face in actively maintaining two language is the cognitive load and effort required to keep both languages active and accessible. So regularly using both languages and being exposed to them is crucial, but it can be mentally taxing to constantly switch between linguistic scopes. There may be societal pressures to prioritize one language over the other, making it challenging to find opportunities to practice and maintain proficiency in both. So you have to make a balance from main challenges is you have to make a com, uh, balance using of two languages. So yeah, I think that's all that I can say. Thank you.
Okay. I will ask to Cahaya Ningrum, uh, what is role of the younger generation in accelerating language change?
Excuse me. So I will answer the question from Raida. So the answer is the young generation plays a significant role in accelerating language change through their adoption of new vocabulary, slang, and expression. They are often at the forefront of linguistic innovation, introducing novel words and phrases influenced by pop culture, technology, and social trends. Additionally, young people tend to adapt languages to fit their communication needs, leading to the evolution of language over time. Is it clear? Yeah. Is it clear?
Okay, thank you, Cahaya Ningrum.
Right, that was all the material from the last presenter of this group. Please forgive us. There were things that were not mentioned earlier. I, as the moderator, would like to excuse myself. Thank you all for your active participation. We hope today's presentation and discussion were beneficial to you. I will now have to make this event. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you guys.